Good. Now it's working. Let me just get the sound back up. Alright. Mr. Cannabella, I would like to apologize for putting too much pressure on your daughter. Only your words can bring her back from the brink of madness. Let her hear the truth from her own father. All according to your plan, eh, Layton? You've driven Isabella into a corner in order to push me to the wall. I had no other choice. Isabella, please listen to me. You haven't done anything wrong. You didn't cause that accident. You have suffered so much thinking that you were Bizella. I must take the blame for that. Ooh, I sacrificed everything to make up for what I've done. But all I managed to do was inflict more pain upon others. Is that not so, Doc Edgelaw? And already, even though we're fucking only seconds in, I need to blow my nose. This is a good start. Now that you are willing to talk, Mr. Cannabella, would you mind telling us your story? Yours as well as Isabella's and Miss Angelaw's. Very well. This story too began when I was a young lad, when Newton and I were still youths, full of dreams and hopes. As you already know, we discovered the underground ruins, and deep within them lay that accursed spell. The Bell of Ruin. At the time we still lacked the knowledge to decipher any of the writings we found there. The spell is magnificent. It's bound to make the most beautiful sound. I have an idea. Why don't we make this spell the symbol of our town? How do you propose to do that? Let's build a bell tower for it, and we can ring it on special occasions. That's not a bad idea. And it's settled. When we grow up, let's do it. Okay, just don't forget about it. The two of us chose different paths in life. I studied management in London while Newton devoted himself to the study of the natural sciences. And then you made a fortune following the invention of a new anesthetic. We both got married around that time, and each of us had a daughter. You mean Isabella was born shortly after your company gained funding? That's right. We eventually returned to our hometown and set about realizing our childhood dream. Having built the bell tower in the middle of the town square, we retrieved the bell itself from the underground ruins. We aspired to make it a symbol of prosperity for this unindustrialized town. The bell was to be officially displayed during the annual fire festival. It would be rung in the morning following the night of celebration. Pardon the interruption, but at the time, were you aware of the meaning behind the bell's name? Obviously, we were not. Thinking back to my ignorance at the time, a chill now runs down my spine. Newton and I went to the bell tower the day before the festival. Only one more day to go. We've waited a long time for this. That we have. The sound will no longer be the same after tomorrow. The bell weighed so much that ringing it was not easy. We tackled that problem by constructing a special mechanism, which we installed in the belfry.
Daddy, I want to hear the bell. Daddy, please.
Bella, who was there with us, was utterly enchanted by the bell. She wasn't a bad child, but she was very stubborn and would rarely listen to me when she wanted something. I told her a story to try and convince her to leave the bell alone.
Espella, listen carefully. You mustn't ring this bell.
But why? Why can't I, Daddy?
You know about Bezella, the witch.
Uh-huh. She's an evil fire witch who uses magic to hurt people.
If you ring this bell, Bezella will come out and possess you.
Possess me? You mean I'll turn into Bezella?
That's right, Espella. When Bezella possesses someone, she uses them to do terrible things. That's why you must never ring the spell, sweetheart.
I understand, Daddy.
There's a good girl.
The legend of Bezella has been passed around these parts for centuries. It probably originated from beliefs of the tribes that populated this area in the past. What I told Espella was just a silly story that I invented for the occasion. It was only meant to stop her from ringing the bell. I could not have imagined that it would have such far-reaching consequences. It's all coming back to me now. I remember that day. On the day of the fire festival, just around the time when the preparations ended and everything was about to begin, I sneaked around out of our house. I took Mom's pendant with me. Your mother's pendant? Do you mean this one? It belonged to my mom. We needed to limit access to the bell, so we made the 2 keys. We decided to make them into pendants and each gave one to our respective wives. Both are needed in order to access the belfry. I saw you and Mr. Belduke use them, so I told Eve to meet me at the bell tower.
Daddy says Bezella will come out if I ring the bell, but if I do it just a little, I want to try it while the festival is going on. I hope Eve doesn't forget her mum's pendant.
So it is just as I thought. Miss Edgelaw, you are Mr. Belduke's daughter. Well done, Inquisitor. I was almost afraid you would fail to make that connection. Oh boy, you mean to say that you're Sir Belduke's daughter? Yes, my real name is Eve Belduke. I'm the alchemist's daughter. What? I also sneaked out of my house that evening, clutching my mother's pendant in my hand. I did just as he asked me to do, did I not, Espella?
Espella, my mum's going to be so angry if she notices I took the pendant. Don't worry so much. I just really want to ring that bell. I want to hear it.
You're late, you cunt. I rang the bell against my father's warning, and so Bezella possessed me. Because of me, the town and everyone in it. They're all gone. No, it's not your fault. Stop blaming yourself. Supposedly, the former inhabitants of this area also used to fall unconscious upon the sound of that bell. Perhaps they experienced a similar nightmare. It was I who brought the Bell of Ruin into this town. The one to blame for this calamity is not some witch, it's me. I brought destruction upon this town. I am Bezella. Bella, you're going to drive your dad crazy if you keep repeating that. Seeing you like this is giving me a strong feeling of deja vu. Eve, how can you be so evil? Are you happy now? I'm afraid we're in the dark as regards to Miss Edgelaw's sense of deja vu. Only 4 people survived the fire. Only 4. Bella and Eve, who were in the belfry, and the only 2 residents who did not participate in the festival, Newton and I. Where were you at the time, if you'll permit my asking? We were investigating those fateful ruins, that's why we didn't notice anything until it was too late. It was getting near the time at which we planned to ring the bell, so we headed towards the town. Then we saw it. The town had been burnt to ashes, the air shimmering from the heat. We searched for survivors sick with anxiety. Eventually, we found our daughters in the bell tower. Bella was unresponsive like a doll. Eve was crying at her side. Our relief at having found them weighed with terror caused by the disaster. The worst night of my life ended, pierced with the first days of sunshine. But then, it seemed as Bella was already lost to us. We had lost her to Bezella. She wouldn't speak, eat, or even leave her room. She thought she was Bezella and that she had destroyed the town. I couldn't get that out of her head. What she saw from the bell tower must have been so terrifying. But it wasn't shock from what she had seen. My own words had put her in that state. Had I only not told her that stupid story. We had been grasping at straws, trying to find a way to save Isabella's mind. But whatever we did, her eyes would remain impassive and empty. In the end, I came upon a certain idea that offered us a glimpse of hope. What was it? The suspense. It's too much. I believe I may know what it was. It was the only way to get through to little Isabella.
Have a look.
We discovered this in Isabella's room. The handmade picture book. The illustrations and handwriting are truly exquisite. That's the first story I wrote. I made it for Isabella after that dreadful fire. Oh, storyteller's first story. It was but a simple children's story. The plot was very straightforward. The townsfolk joined forces to banish evil witches who serve Bezella.
Isabella, do you understand now? You aren't Bezella. Bezella is somewhere out there, sending out other witches to do bad things to the people of our town.
Witches, magic, the town perishing in flames. Isabella was mentally broken, and I couldn't get through to her any other way. I talked to her as if magic and witches were real, avoiding any mention of that fire.
Daddy. A witch is real.
Isabella spoke to me for the first time in so many days. I was beyond myself with joy and replied without thinking.
Oh, yes, they are. They're hiding in the town, among the people.
But it's just a fairy tale.
I was desperate. I feared she would close herself off to me again. Now, in hindsight, I see what an utter fool I was. I made an irreversible mistake yet again.
No, it's not. Everything your daddy writes comes true. The bad witches will get their comeuppance. I will write a story about it.
And so I wrote another story for my daughter. A story about mischievous witches getting caught. This time I had the story acted out in front of Isabella. She had it acted out. Back then, I wasn't the only one tormenting myself over the mental state of my daughter. Newton was getting through hell too. His own daughter had been badly scarred by the event. Isn't that right, Eve? Hold on, this is making me so teared up. I gotta blow my nose. Ah, a truly touching tale. Isn't that right, Eve? My father and I repaired a building that had survived the fire and continued to live in this town. Isabella wasn't even able to leave her room. We couldn't leave her behind when she needed all the help she could get. Couldn't go to the toilet either, so it was kinda messy. But let's not talk about that. Mr. Cannabella showed us this book one day. Then he made an unusual request of us.
I'd like to make this story real. Would you be willing to help me do so?
To our surprise, he was entirely serious, seeing that we gladly offered our help. A story about evil-doing witches getting caught and punished, and Bezella the source of them all.
Were you paying attention, Espella? Witches got what they deserved, and peace has been restored to the town.
Spella smiled at the end. Then she whispered to herself,
It wasn't me.
When I saw her smile, I felt as if something broke inside me. I couldn't afford to let her be sad again. Maybe if Bezella were to exist in this town, Bella would stop thinking she herself harbored the Great Witch. I continued writing stories about witches, even I would act them out for Espella. And gradually the number of characters in my stories increased. That was, of course, largely due to the ongoing reconstruction of the town. How much reconstruction? It wasn't anything on a big scale. I simply paid people to move in and act out their roles. But I began to think that I would need more than that. The story had to be real. To make a lie seem true, you resorted to even more lies. Yes, I was certain that was the only way. How did I do so? I remembered about Newton's research. He was working on a certain medicine. It was kind of a tranquilizer made from local plants that he was testing at the time. But it was difficult to put it into practical use. The substance had a danger of causing unconsciousness and hypnosis. I can see how that could be abused to cause much harm, supposing it fell into the wrong hands. At the same time, it was just what I needed for my ambitious project. I contacted the government, and that was the beginning of what came to be known as Project Labyrinthia. A town with human test subjects, all in a state of long-term hypnosis. You devised that plan solely for the sake of your daughter? Yep. He acquired the land which had been laid to waste by the fire. The new town was slowly becoming populated. Gradually, the rules of Labyrinthia were established. It was to be a town where magic and witches were a reality to the residents. All of this was possible thanks to the drug. Test subjects were exposed to it through the ink used to pen the story, right? That's right, it was the dangerous drug developed by Newton. About 10 years have passed since then. Even now, the town continues to change. I mean, it's a good thing that that drug doesn't have any side effects and anything, you know. It would be kind of bad if people were having like really severe cases of explosive diarrhea all over the town and stuff, you know, but whatever. Project Labyrinthia. And all this was done for one girl. Espella was only able to be herself when she lived within my story. Oh, the irony of it. Only within a world in which Bezella was real could Espella's tragic memories be sealed. All this while, Eve was assisting me. I was the first shade. As soon as the story began, I disappeared from the scene. If Espella was to see some magic, then someone had to don this robe. I gave Espella new memories so that she could live in this town with everyone else. I also sealed the memory of her friend, Eve. What? My existence was too strongly connected to her memory of the fire. Afterwards, I returned as Edgelaw, a stranger to Espella. But even if you were doing this for Espella's sake, that's just going too far. I made that choice. I do not regret the past 10 years. Meanwhile, my father was supporting Labyrinthia from behind the scenes in his own way. You mean his contributions as an alchemist? My father's knowledge of medicine was indispensable for this town to function. He hallucinogenic ink with my father's work as well. So it was. Newton and Eve sacrificed more than anyone else for the sake of Isabella and this town. I will be forever indebted to them. We wanted to save Isabella just like you. But then there's still something I don't understand. Why were you trying to destroy this fake world? In the end, you chose to betray Isabella and Mr. Cannabella. Oh, but I've told you already, have I not? It was your revenge against Mr. Cannabella for choosing to end the story, correct? I wonder whether that was the true reason. Professor? Something's weird with your face. It looks almost like you need to blow your nose. Ah, that is quite true, Mr. Phoenix Wright. Attorney at law. Thanks for the handkerchief, Luke, my boy. Now, back to the story. Well, Miss Belduke really betrayed him merely because she did not want the story to end. I dare say there was another, considerably more important reason. He had another reason? What? No need to frown in dismay, Mr. Wright. Please leave this to me. Well then, let's hear what the Inquisition has to say. What other reason led the witness to betray Mr. Cannabella?
Have a look.
This letter was Miss Belduke's real motive. What is this? I think I've seen it before. That's the letter written by Mr. Belduke for Mr. Cannabella. It's also Mr. Belduke's suicide note. Yeah, you remember this. Something was tormenting Mr. Belduke. It became too much for him to bear and drove him to suicide. These past 10 years, I thought Father was glad to be helping Cannabella. But little did I know, he was suffering terrible anguish all that time. Cannabella twisted the lives of so many people for the sake of his daughter. Was the story not but a glorified lie, stripping so many of what little happiness they had? All those years, Father was racked by a crushing sense of guilt. His agony culminated in the incident of 3 months ago, Mr. Belduke's death. Before Labyrinthia was created, certain things had to be concealed in order to seal Isabella's memories. Had she seen them, she would have remembered. They were simply too dangerous to her. One of them was me. Isabella's friend Eve had to be reborn as a shade and disappear into the forest. The next thing was the bell tower. I see, had she seen it, it would have been certain to stir up those traumatic memories. Memories of the legendary fire. The only way to prevent that was to erase the bell tower from her Labyrinthia. But how could you do that? Using the same method as with this robe. A robe of invisibility. In short, we covered up the tower with a huge robe. And somehow made sure that nobody would ever accidentally walk into what they would see as nothing. I'm sure that works. Although it wasn't as easy as it sounds. In other words, the bell tower had been there all this time. Only the townspeople couldn't see it, is that correct? Indeed. I don't know what to say. At any rate, the situation changed due to that lightning strike 3 months ago, did it not? It was a most unfortunate accident. The lightning set the bell tower's cover on fire. That cover was quickly consumed by the flames, revealing that abominable bell tower. Good thing nobody ever came close to that thing with any kind of fire substance, or like maybe a torch during the night? You know, the beginning of all of this, the Bell of Ruin, appeared before us. It was mockery of our efforts. Also, couldn't they just have, like, taken the bell down and destroyed the bell tower? I mean, I'm pretty sure that would have been much easier, and much more secure, and also... whatever. The tower emerging from the flames must have seemed like a sign of divine anger to Mr. Belduke. A sign that no matter how you attempt to conceal your sins, the truth will eventually float up to the surface. Having realized this, Father chose death. He was such a kind-hearted man. He didn't have an inkling of what he had been going through. To him, the participation of Labyrinthia's people within this project was not voluntary. Even though they had themselves signed the contract, I believe he felt those people were being deceived. Father took his life because of you, Cannabella. Now you know why I did what I did. I lost my father 3 months ago. That day my revenge began. Your revenge? The first step on my plan was to rewrite the story. What do you say? As president of Labrellum Inc., you had to spend most of your time in London. Over the past few years, you were coming to Labyrinthia only for the parades. So naturally, I knew you would never notice if the story were slightly changed. That explains it. I couldn't help thinking there was something strange going on. Mr. Cannabella is Isbella's father, after all. He wouldn't have made Isbella a witch in his story. Isbella was... a witch? When did that happen? How could you have known, after all? Let me fill you in on the details. Isbella has already been tried once within the witch's court. Possible, but why? How could you? You knew the risk that would carry. Look at you. What a fine author of that grand story you are. You left all the work in Labyrinthia to me. Meanwhile, you were making millions for yourself in London. What a pathetic excuse for a father. You didn't even notice that your precious little Isbella was in such danger. Miss Belduke, why did you do that to Isbella? Do we even need to ask? I did it to unlock her memories. You mean, when the legendary fire took place, Isbella was so traumatized that she closed herself off to the world. We were just little girls then. That tragic accident was too much for us to handle. This fictitious town was created as a facade to keep the truth away from Isbella. But the weight of all these lies led to my father to his suicide. Despite that, the person responsible for all this carried on as if nothing had happened. I couldn't forgive him. As Belduke's bereaved? What? Daughter, I had to have my revenge against both Cannabellas. Judge, this is the whole truth. Now you know the true identity of Bezella.
Objection!
You say this is the whole truth, but is that really the case? What are you going on about now? You have been provided with a clear picture of what happened to Isbella so long ago. Nevertheless, we haven't yet heard your testimony. Don't be ridiculous. This will be the last testimony in this trial. Tell us about the night of the legendary fire. I request that you tell us your story. Who do you think you are, Inquisitor? I am merely one of the supporting characters within this tale. However, I am very much interested in the truth. This has been a very long trial, of which this shall be the last interrogation. The court demands that the single other witness of the legendary fire provide us with her testimony. Very well. There is only one truth. Nothing can change that. Actually, depending on your philosophical views, can be as much as no truth at all, and infinitely many truths at the same time. Yay! Isabella wanted to ring the bell no matter what, so we went up to the belfry. The festival celebrations had already started. The mechanism for ringing the bell was at a height even we could reach. Next thing I remember is coming to and running to Isabella's side. Was shaking her until she finally opened her eyes. The next moment we saw that nightmarish view. All strength abandoned us, and we didn't know what to do. That was when we were found by my father and Mr. Cannabella. The bell could only be rung with a special mechanism. That's right, it was made in such a way that even a child could use it. It was probably constructed by my father. I suppose he wanted to make it possible for anyone to ring that bell. In light of the events that followed, that was clearly a very foolish decision. The mechanism for ringing the bell. I noticed something like that on the pillar when we went to the belfry earlier. I'd better make a note of it. Oh dear, fate can certainly be cruel. I have to agree. If only we had not discovered those ruins and brought the bell to our town. Or if only we could have deciphered those ancient writings a little earlier. Moreover, if only the groundwater in this area didn't cause that strange condition. Unfortunately, in Mr. Cannabella, the tragedy occurred. All that remains for us to do is seek out the truth. Not for the sake of vengeance, but for the sake of the future. Mr. Wright? What? You have been fighting fiercely to uncover the truth. Is this the final interrogation? I trust you know what you do. Leave it to me. To be honest, I have no idea what lies ahead. But whatever it is, there is no question we need to get to the bottom of it. There's got to be light at the end of this tunnel. Did you know about int cones?
Hold it!
You didn't leave the belfry until their arrival. Of course not. We were paralyzed with fear. It was an event so traumatizing it still haunts us. Isabella fainted again when she saw the fire dragon. Was crying and wailing until her fathers found us. We went to the bell tower as it was a good vantage point. We weren't expecting to find our daughters there. Of course, neither suspected at that point that the disaster had been caused by the Bell of Ruin. Eve was in tears, sobbing violently. As for Isabella, she was in a daze, her face frozen in an expression of disbelief. She didn't know what was happening around her. I cannot say this with certainty, as my memories are a little vague, but I think I was trying to protect her.
Hang on!
Mr. Cannabella, I remember that very well, as if it happened yesterday. Annabella, would you mind telling us what you saw?
Eve! Espella! Are you alright?
Daddy!
Eve! What on earth happened here?
It was Bezella! Bezella the witch!
Bazilla? What are you talking about?
Bezella comes out whenever someone rings the bell, right?
What have you done? You didn't...
Oh, please, Mr. Cantabella, don't be angry. Aunt Isabella.
Eve said it was with a most serious look on her face. Please, Mr. Cannabella, don't be angry at her. When she said that, I grasped the situation. I realized what had transpired in the belfry, and I thought to myself, I must protect those children. Eve. I'm so sorry, Eve. Bella. Bella, sweetie.
Dad, please forgive me. You've done all this for me.
Bella, you're with us again.
All this for me.
Well, well. At last, it would appear we are one step away from the truth. Professor, you seem to already know what the truth is. Do I? That remains to be seen. Continue the interrogation and we shall all know soon enough. Very well, the court agrees with Inquisitor Layton. Witness, continue your testimony. As you wish. Interns.
Hold it!
So it was you who woke Isabella up, witness? Yes, it was me. She was out cold, curled up on the floor until I shook her awake. As soon as she came to, she turned to look at the town, to that nightmarish view stretching out before us.
Hang on!
Excuse me, Isabella. Bella, are you okay? Yeah, whatever, fine. My apologies for bringing back such troubling memories. Nevertheless, you must endeavor to face them and overcome the power they hold over you. Yes, I remember it now. The fire dragon. I summoned it because I'm Bezella. No, Isabella, it was just an illusion.
No, you're wrong, Dad. It wasn't an illusion. It's all my fault. Ah.
The accused ran away! Quick, after her. She's run into the bell tower. She locked herself in. It's no use. It's no use! We'll have to break down the door to get in. She's gone and driven herself. Stay away from me, you rapists. Y'all's my bitches now. Bella, be careful, it's dangerous up there. Please jump down. I'm sorry, everyone. I have no right to be here anymore. Nick, Isabel's going to do something crazy. I can see that, and I encourage it. Isabella, please do not make any hasty decisions. Think about it and jump. The truth is closed now. Be brave for a little while longer. The truth? As if it wasn't clear already. If I hadn't rung that bell, everything would have been fine.
Objection.
You may be mistaken, you still don't know the whole story. Huh? Isn't that so, Mr. Wright? I had the same feeling when I was listening to Eve's testimony. I felt something was not right. Really? I thought it was pretty much... Pieces of the puzzle that don't yet fit are themselves the hints to the solution.
No way.
You mean Isabella didn't ring the bell? What? Nonsense, of course she did. As it stands, it's hard to say for sure that she didn't ring the bell. However, we've got evidence that will clear any doubts. Show us this so-called evidence you claim to have then. You think proves that Isabella didn't ring the bell?
Take that!
Isabella, can you hear me? Yeah. Where you're standing now is the same spot from where you saw the fire dragon. This fretwork here is the same as what I saw that day. When I look at it now, it seems so small, even adorable. Defense, what does this have to do with anything? As you will no doubt recall, Mr. Cannabella told us that people who drink the groundwater here suffer from a condition. A condition where they fall unconscious the moment they hear the sound of pure silver. We've been over this 100,000 times, but we gotta pad this game out somehow. After the bell sounded, You recovered consciousness sooner than Espella. You ran to her side and shook her awake. As soon as she opened her eyes, she saw the fire dragon. In other words, if it was Espella who rang the bell, that would mean the device for ringing the bell must be very close to the fretwork of the dragon. Espella, can you please check that for me? See if the contraption is located near the dragon fretwork. Okay. Mr. Right. I don't know if it's the right thing, but there's something on the other side of the belfry. A contraption with a handle. What? On the other side? That's right. I figured there was something weird when we went up the bell tower, but I couldn't quite put my finger on it. No way. You see where I'm going with this, don't you, Mr. Belduke? If it was Espella who rang the bell, there's no way she could have seen the fire dragon when she woke up. This can't be right. Excellent deduction, Mr. Wright. Miss Starklaw. Seems that everything is now clear as day. What do you mean? Why, of course, I mean the answer to the question of who rang the bell. It was her it had to be. What do you say, Mr. Wright? It looks like we've arrived at the same conclusion. You now know that only one person could have done it. Wait, what good will saying it out loud do? Is there a problem, Mr. Cantabello? It wasn't your daughter who rang that bell. Should that not lift some burden off your shoulders? Are you not curious to know the name of the true culprit who has pinned the blame on your daughter all this while? How about you stop taunting us, just say the name. And stop this lagging. Yeah, let's do the thing.
Have a look.
It's you, Eve Belgic. Me? But there were only the two of you in the belfry at the time. You know that better than anyone. And if it wasn't Espella who rang the bell, it had to be you. It's preposterous, it can't be true. It was an extremely traumatizing event for both you and Espella. Your friend's memories were altered from the shock without her even realizing it. You believed she was a witch who rang the bell and summoned a dragon which incinerated the town. However, Miss Belduke, Espella wasn't the only one whose memories were warped by the horrors that you two witnessed. You were affected as well.
No. It wasn't me. Espella, she rang the bell. Espella, not me.
I know this is really tragic,
Why?
but Luke, please hand me another handkerchief. Oh, thank you, my boy.
What are these flashbacks? I've never had this before.
Ah, this is most ungentlemanly of me. But you know, Mother Nature and all. Can't really do much against the cold.
What's the matter? I don't want to do this now. We'll be taken over by Bizella. Bizella is just a fairy tale. And you're the one who said you wanted to come and ring the bell. I did, but I changed my mind. Hey? After coming all this way? Oh. Hmm?
Espella didn't lift. And didn't eat her spinach. You sure must be dumb motherfuckers to mistake that for a dragon, though. Let's be real, man. Like, it's not even moving. This is still so dumb. Y'all niggas fucking stupid. And that screech is why all the glass shattered.
That nightmare was too much for two young girls to take in. Your young minds needed to protect themselves. That's why you subconsciously repressed those memories.
Then, if that's true...
It's good at inventing memories, but it's really also good at detecting fake bullshit. And if something's static and really abstract, and doesn't look like a fucking dragon at all, especially because it's framed in a fucking thing you can see within the cone of your vision, then I really doubt you would actually, like, interpret it as a fucking dragon.
For the past 10 years, I've been pinning the blame.
You could make a case for it if it was like a fucking huge fresco of like colored glass or something that looks like a dragon. Then you could make a case for it, but it's way too small for this to really make any sense to me. Like, you still see the fucking railing within your vision and all. It's just whatever.
For what I've done on Espella, it can't be true. It's impossible.
Darklaw just disappeared.
He's donned the invisibility robe.
Oh, Nick, look at the bell tower. Espella's gone.
No, she's on the roof.
I beg you, don't blame Eve. It really doesn't matter anymore who rang the accursed bell.
Yes, just kill yourself.
This town was all created for me. It's my fault you've all been used and suffered.
Espella, what are you saying? Please, come down right now.
Come down by jumping off.
You haven't done anything wrong.
Dad, I know that you've been so...
Shut up.
I will finish the evil whip, Dad.
I'm very classy at burp on stream.
Don't do it, Espella.
Do it! Do it, motherfucker! Yeah! God damn it. Let her fall.
What are you... Isn't that... Darklaw? But why...
Darklaw is fucking swole if she can fucking hold that.
But everything
Jesus.
I've done.
You're not the only one.
How can she hold all that weight with a fucking single hand? Holy shit.
Still have the pendant.
She's holding herself and Espella, so basically twice her weight
Because
with
somehow
one
I
hand.
always knew it was important to me.
Fucking ripped as shit.
You kept your pendant.
Now
as
punch her in the
hard as
fucking
you
face.
For some reason, I just couldn't let it go.
Espella, Miss Darklaw.
Supposedly their mothers died in the fire.
Let's go.
But who cares
We have
about
to save them.
their moms or whatever? Moms are stupid anyway.
Make it there in time.
Why?
The wooden handrail Eve's holding onto is rotted through. We need some sort of magic. to save them.
Magic, you say?
Magic, you say?
God damn it,
Got an
Layton.
idea, Professor?
Don't
If a bit of
fucking
magic
take
is all
all my
that's needed to save
stupid
these
ass
two young
lines.
ladies, then perhaps that is something I can arrange.
What? You can?
You have to let go, otherwise you'll fall too.
Rest in peace. Not for real though.
Professor?
Nice show off. What's going on here, anyone? Professor, you're a sorcerer. Nah, I'm just cool as shit. What you just have seen is my awesomeness. Magic is but an illusion, and this illusion has been produced through the power of suggestion and Labrellum's medication. Everyone in Labyrinthia has been under this particular magic spell. Now then, shall we break the spell? Magic is the last mystery to be solved. You've seen through all my tricks, Layton. I wouldn't have done it without the vital hint you gave me when we spoke in your tower. The final spell is concealed at the start. Okay, so what does that mean? As you know, all the spells are listed within this book. Right, the Grand Grimoire. Now, what did Mr. Cannabella mean by the start? The front cover? Precisely, Mr. Wright. The final spell shall dispel the illusion. The correct incantation is hidden on the front cover itself.
Well then, Mr. Wright. This is the final puzzle. Soon, a new day will begin for the townspeople. Let us put an end to this illusion. Once and for all.
Yeah!
Hooray! Hidden on the cover of the Grand Grimoire are the characters that spell out the true magical incantation. Select your characters on the touchscreen and slide them over in their correct counterparts on the tome's cover to make them vanish. The grand finale approaches. Remove the extra magical characters from the Grand Grimoire's cover to reveal the hidden incantation. What do I got to do? Oh, okay, I see. I can't turn them. Right. Right. Where is this fucking... there's none of those. As far as I can see. Oh.
Let us think about it together.
Every puzzle has an answer.
The sun is rising, and when it does, its light will reveal the truth behind Labyrinthia's mysteries.
Now, Professor?
Yes. Shall we, Mr. Wright?
So this is the real magic behind Labyrinthia.
Excellent work, my boy.
Huh? Hey, it's Luke!
I hope Luke's got a permit to operate those machines. Because, you know, actually...
Hang on a second. The town's full of machinery?
I'm mentioning this because there's a really good, Hang on a second, the town's full of machinery.
So much for magic. It was all done with these machines.
That's right. With magic, witches can fly, buildings can disappear. Those are no easy feats to stage. To make all those incredible things real, we needed a great deal of machinery.
Couldn't he have just, I don't know, made the magic a bit simpler?
A witch would say the incantation, and shades would stop time with their silver bells.
And they'd go wild with these machines, making all sorts of crazy stuff happen. That's so cool. I'd love to try it.
I took a quick crash course before operating the machines. Not bad, hey?
Yes, Luke. What would we do without you?
So when's my turn? I want to pick something up off the ground and make it fly through the air.
I wish you'd stop looking at me when you say that, Maya.
Well, in any case, I think we should head back to the courthouse.
Right you are, Professor. The judge might have fallen asleep waiting for us.
The sun has risen above Labyrinthia, and has shown us our town's true form.
When are you going to fucking take off your stupid ass hood? You look fucking ridiculous, Judge.
Well, I really don't think there's any need for a verdict anymore. The witches on trial weren't witches after all. I am deeply relieved that those I have sentenced are still alive and well. At last, I can step down from this seat with a clear conscience. And now, the final verdict in the last witches' court session ever to be held.
I thought you just said you don't need to do a verdict. But whatever, it's freestyle. No rules anymore. Anything goes. Free for all. I'm very grateful for all the help, Professor. It's almost like you did everything yourself and we did basically nothing. You got that right, Mr. Attorney. A gentleman always fights for the truth. I could not have done otherwise. I'd like to congratulate the two of you. You both did splendidly in the court. Ooh, it's the judge. You've brought to light the truth about this town. Although I still find it astonishing that we could not see all of this. I cannot even begin to imagine how it was achieved. Me neither. You were all given a very simple instruction when you were hypnotized. You cannot see pure black. That was sufficient. Oh, now I see. That's why I always felt completely lost whenever it was night. Like I just felt like myself in an empty void outside of all existence. That was always scaring the piss out of me. But what we often perceive as the color black is in fact far from being pure black. Our brains interpret reflections of light as colors. Objects which reflect even the smallest amount of light are not pure black. Pure black is only encountered within nature as darkness. Darkness, sir? The machines used in Labyrinthia are coated in a special material developed by Labrellum. It absorbs light without reflecting any. But yet we can still make out features and stuff, so that's obviously not true. Oh, I bet this invisibility robe is also made of that same material. Also, even though something's still, like, it's not like you can suddenly see what's behind the thing that's just black, even if you're told you can't see it, but whatever. When you think about it, this town is bounds in all things invisible. Huh? Miss Edgelaw, or should I say Miss Belduke? Yeah. For 10 long years, your memories have been suppressed. The truth about what occurred in the belfry was invisible to me, you mean? Mr. Cannabella and your father knew it all along. They knew who actually rang the bell. What? That's true. As we have demonstrated, it was easy to deduce from the situation in the belfry. But if you knew that all along, why didn't you say something? It was, of course, for your own good.
Don't be angry!
Please spare us more fucking screeching child noises. You were trying to pin the blame for that disaster on Isabella. Yes, I was, but if you knew that, why did you keep it quiet about it? If you had only scolded me back then for lying, maybe Isabella wouldn't have suffered as much trauma. It was your eyes, Eve. What? Your eyes weren't those of a liar. You believed in what she said. You truly thought it was Isabella. What you saw was too much for you to bear, as we have said like a trillion times now. Had I called you a liar then, you would probably have suffered a mental breakdown. Ah, Annabella and your father created this town. You were mistaken in thinking it was purely for Isabella's sake. It was also for you. Ah! Remember what your father wrote in his suicide note.
I have only two concerns. The first is my daughter. It pains me to be leaving her alone in this world, although she probably doesn't think of me as her father.
They're actually still researching new coatings and materials to make things as black as possible. I think my father actually worked with a team of, or at least is associated with a team of researchers who like make a breakthrough in finding an extremely dark coating that lets out like 0.0 something % of all light. So people are still working on that. Anyway, I had an argument with my father once. He was always thinking only about the town and paid no attention to me. So you moved out and broke off contact with him. You were wrong about your father. Not a single day passed without him thinking about you. He helped to make the story I was weaving a reality for your sake. I've been so ignorant. I was so convinced father was driven to suicide by you. Your father couldn't bear the sense of guilt he had accumulated over the past 10 years. Even though he killed himself in the end, I believe you were always the most important person to him.
Eve?
Espella. Espella, What I did to you is unforgivable. I rewrote your story, putting you through all this. I can't believe I went to such an extreme because of one wrong assumption.
No, it's okay, Eve. I wasn't angry.
You weren't?
You've always...
I'm an anime.
Bella.
Bella, you really are an anime.
I also...
Oh, I'm so anime.
Ah, there you are, Eve. Where were you?
Your cat's called Eve.
I never knew that before, even though, like, I'm sure it just came up during the trial before and whatever.
It looks like Eve has taken a liking to the other Eve.
You've got that right.
Didn't actually Edgelaw acknowledge the existence of the fucking cat during the trial that we just had mere seconds ago? I'm very sure that happened.
Oh dear.
Good writing! Yay! Gold stars for everyone.
My accidental guests, Professor Layton and Miss...
Yes?
I must say, I am indebted to you.
Don't mention it.
You know, when I started planning my revenge 3 months ago, Mr. Layton was a part of my plans. I needed to lure him to Labyrinthia.
Why me?
You were famous in London, and word of your skills reached me even here. What's more, you specialize in mysteries. So I thought that if you came to this town, you'd feel compelled to solve ours.
Plus, you already solved the mystery about a town full of robots and machinery, basically, so, you know, perfect for the job.
Well, I am honored.
That's cool. And what about me?
Well,
You were an accident.
about your arrival here,
You mean it wasn't planned?
as you know. As a consequence, I had no choice but to bring you here.
I see. I shouldn't have asked. My fragile pride has suffered yet another blow.
Nick, you can't escape your fate. You're doomed to always find trouble if it doesn't find you first.
How about some words of sympathy for a change?
Just scrub your toilet, Nick.
I am terribly sorry. The only thing on my mind the last 3 months was revenge.
Whatever your intentions were, the last witch trial has ended in the best possible way for this town. You were correct in your judgment.
You're too kind to me.
I thank you from the bottom of my heart, Eve, for opening my eyes.
Unfortunately, I'm going to die soon because of my lung problems from the smoking. I'm not sure what happened there, but
Sort of got an important question.
the rasp on his voice
Why were you
is
going to end
very,
the story?
very strong. I'm pretty sure that he has lung cancer.
Only
Rest in
you
peace,
knew the real
storyteller.
reason. I am suffering from an incurable illness.
Hey, timing.
What?
Dad, you're ill. Is it serious?
Unlike anime, it's not as serious as having the anime illness like you do, but
It
pretty
is a
serious.
rare disease with no known cure.
Why didn't you tell me? Had I known...
I wanted this to be my secret. I suppose that was a bad decision on my part. I thought I'd finish the story before I died and lay the foundations for a new world. Honestly,
A new
was
world
desperate.
order.
I didn't much care about Labyrinthia anymore.
Dad, why did it have to happen to you? Especially now that we're finally back together.
Cheer up, Espella.
Yeah, cheer up. I'm just gonna die now. Like, it's... Ha.
How can I?
Labrellum's new drug development center contacted me a short while ago.
They're gonna put me on anesthetics, and then I'm gonna be high all day.
They have succeeded in creating a new medicine, thanks to Belduke's research. It's a top-secret wonder drug for my illness.
A wonder drug?
You just said he's incurable.
Newton had been working on finding a cure for my illness until the
So-
very end.
Okay, so you just shaped this to make us feel guilty, and I don't appreciate that,
It would seem
and I hope you go
that
to
the
jail.
cure-
My father.
Newton was the truest friend I ever had. I'm going to undergo surgery. Do not fear, I shall return. So stop making that sad face, Espella.
Gotta push in that last minute fucking drama, you know.
Dad, will everything be back to how it once was?
Just the
course
prank,
it
bro,
will.
is really the fucking perfect description for this game. Everything can be summed up with just, it's a prank, bro.
And Eve, will you still be my friend?
Of course.
Oh, God. Incredibly anime.
You.
I can't deal with this much anime in a Layton game. It's not proper. It's not right. I'm going to drop by Miss Eclair's bakery. I've got so much to tell her. Do you mind if I go, Dad? It won't take long. Get pissed off. Like Eve wants to come too. What? Oh, you mean the cat. Spell mind if we tag along. Not at all, you're welcome to come and be anime with me. Awesome! Maybe I'll go watch some anime. I thought we were going to there for a different reason. Well, anyway, I'll be off then, Professor. Pass on my regards to Miss Ekla, Luke. As for me, I don't need any of this anime bullshit. I'm gonna stay here. So, what's going to happen to the town? I've released everyone from hypnosis. They will soon recover the memories of their lives before Labyrinthia. As of today, Project Labyrinthia is over. I see. They are free to leave if they so wish. I imagine they will make a run for it. This place will turn into uninhabited ruins just like it was 10 years ago.
I have some doubts about that.
Your Honor!
I now understand that this town is an artificial creation of yours. Nonetheless, to us Labyrinthians, the past 10 years were real.
No one can yet tell how this town will change. However, it is possible that some people will want to stay. Who knows?
They're gonna make
Perhaps
a
you'll
real
find yourself creating
Mayohiga
a new town
in this.
along with them.
They're gonna turn Labyrinthia into Mayohiga.
A new...
I am no longer the judge, but, if possible, I would like to remain here.
You have my gratitude, Your Honor.
You need not address me as Your Honor anymore, Sir Storyteller.
From now on, I'll be known as Old Fuck.
And so, the last witch trial has drawn to a close.
finished the game. Finally.
What did Mr. Wright, Mr. Layton, and my father talk about? That I do not know. But Dad made a promise to me.
No, he
Once
should
everyone
be known
recovers
as
their memories
Mr.
and he
Japes.
is cured of his illness,
Ah, God. Prank Master
he will
2000.
return to write a new story with everyone's help. This time, the story will be real without any lies or illusions.
That extremely high tower so close to the shoreline seems like a kind of a risk, you know, in terms of stability.
What a beautiful sound.
Almost as if it's ringing in a new beginning for the town.
Thank you, Eve.
Hey, the cone tits are gone.
Okay
Great.
then. Whenever you are ready, Mr. Barnum.
Suddenly, everyone got clothes that actually look alright. Except for the storyteller. He still looks weird.
Estella! You take care now!
You too, Mr. Cantabella. Bye!
We're never gonna talk to you again!
Sure to visit us again!
Nope!
You can bet on it!
I wish
In my
all
ass.
of you the very best.
Good riddance!
Mr. Wright, I knew I could count on you to stand your ground and fight me to the very end.
Me too. I always believed in you, Professor.
You know,
And
the
I
funny
it's why
thing
you
is,
managed
the
to get to
animation in this
mysterious
is
truth behind
a
this
billion
town.
times better than the actual fucking Ace Attorney anime. That is
When we get
airing
back
right
to
now
England,
still,
we'll
I
drop by and see you,
believe.
look. Great! I'll show you around
Anyway,
London.
that's really embarrassing. Fucking hell. My goodness. I've only like seen fucking screenshots of it, and it looks so. The animation looks so terrible. I can't bear to watch that shit. Hopefully Lady Layton will be less of a shitty ass story, which I have confidence it will be, mostly because it's not trying to be anything but just a Layton game. And those have been ridiculous and outlandish, but by far not as much as this one. Plus, the plot from what I've seen so far in the trailer seems far more grounded than usual things, but you never know. Yes, Lady Layton, the upcoming Layton game in 2017. Which I guess I can play that on stream if it's not gonna block me, if you guys haven't seen it yet.
You know, Professor, I feel like I've just
Good
finished reading
trailer.
a really long
Really amazing
story.
music.
Indeed, Luke. I know what you mean. It certainly was an enthralling adventure.
I wonder how Espella and the others back in Labyrinthia are getting on. I'd love to go back and see them. Although, I'd rather not have to be sucked into a book to get there.
Perhaps we should ask Carmine to come along with us.
Until
Great! It's a real relief he recovered from all of his injuries. But he was a bit put out when he found out you'd already solved all the town's secrets, Professor.
Well, we mustn't forget that we didn't solve them all by ourselves. We couldn't have done it without the help of our friends across the Atlantic.
I wonder what they're doing right now.
Eating
Backing away
hamburgers.
in a corner somewhere?
I'd wager they may well be, Luke. At any rate, we must make our own preparations. There's a brand new case that requires our attention, and that means a brand new set of puzzles to be solved, my boy.
Hold it! What's the matter, Wright? Has the cat got your tongue? Or are you still in a holiday kind of mood? Perhaps your mind is as clouded as the English sky.
Any hints, Maya?
Not really. If only the professor were here. I think at this point you've got to use that patented spell of yours, Nick.
Patented spell?
Hello, Earth to Nick. Just when we think it's all over, you always use it to turn the tables.
Ah, got it. I just have to close my eyes and say the magic word. Luckily, I don't need a witch's scepter for this one.
Save the chit-chat for later, right? I've almost missed that utterly annoying spell of yours. Fine, let's hear it then.
Just take a deep breath and give it all you've got.
Well, here goes. Objection!
there he was. Right, this is fucking... Let's watch that trailer, yo. And let's hope I don't get content ID blocked, yo. Time for some amazing music. Gonna shut up now because the music is genuinely great.
あら、私が呼んだのはレイトン教授よ。あなたみたいな小娘お呼びじゃないのよ。
へえ、まだレイトン教授を頼りにされているとは。夫人の見識もその程度でしたか。父に代わって依頼はこの私が解決します。
やっぱりカトリーさんはすごい人です。 まさかあんなとんでもない推理が当たるとはな。
私絶対に謎を解いてみせますので。つまり時計の針は巨大なモナカで作られていたのよ。
そんなわけねえだろ。
確かにモナカと思われる成分が検出されていますね。
すごっ。
犯人が誰なのか、それより重要なことがあります。
ねえよ。
それはあなたが無類の祭り好きだということです。
絶対犯人の方が重要だろ。
なぜそれを。
刺さってるだと。
もしこの事件に犯人がいるとすれば、それはあなたです。
俺やってない、やってない。
今年のリバーサイドフェスティバルは特別なものになるわ。
伝説の通りに人が殺された偶然とはとても考えられない。
なんでお前のデタラメ推理が当たるのか。
当たる？その言い方まるで当てずっぽうみたいじゃない。
違うのかい？
違いますよ。カトリーさんのは科学的根拠に基づいた推理ですよ。
この事件には何かとんでもない裏がある。そう言いたいのか？
それに、犯人は極めて知的で冷静な判断力の持ち主。彼であるはずがない。
私はカトリー・エイル・レイトン。レイトン教授の娘。ロンドンの人たちは私をこう呼ぶ。レディー・レイトン、謎多き英国淑女と。
言ってねえよ。
負けるか。
だから俺をカゴに乗せろって。
現実はいつも稀有なものなのです。これでよしっと。